Hello and welcome to Reggie's Recess, where you get real talk about real relationships. Of course, I am your host, C. Reggie Rogers, renowned relationship coach, author, television host, radio host, podcast host, and I've got consider myself a coach. Now, when I say singles empowerment coach, my objective is to literally teach singles or empower what it to become the one. You know, breaking up really is so hard. Breakups are never easy for anyone. And so this month, we're going to be talking about It's Over, I'm sick. That was the thing that drew me to you, and I wanted to get some advice, some wisdom from you in regards to this dating process.
Yes.
I want to talk about it. Hello and welcome to Reggie's Recess, where you get real talk about real relationships. Of course, I am your host, C. Reggie Rogers, where I give you nothing but the best. I give you the most provocative subjects, and I give you the most awesome guests. I give you dating and relationships from an expanded conscious perspective. That's what we do. I am a radio host, podcast host, television host. And so every week you get me at this time, and I do my best. That's right, I said I do my best to always give you something to think about. So this month we're talking about confident, competent, and comfortable. A lot of times people are not comfortable in their own skins, but in particularly, I'm talking to women. I want women who are confident, competent, and comfortable. And so that word comfortable to me equates to badass. When we talk about badass, a badass woman is a strong, confident, and a bold woman who knows her own mind. She's not worried about anything else. She's sexy. She is funny. She does what she wants, and she doesn't need anyone's approval because she is comfortable in her skin. She is comfortable in her own skin. Ooh, I think I have her today. I have a prototype on the show today of someone who is confident, someone who is competent, and someone who is comfortable. I have a prototype today. I have Gigi Elizabeth Mata. She's going to be my guest today on Reggie's Recess, and we are going to have a fun time as we always do. So we're going to be right back after this commercial with Gigi Elizabeth Mata as we're talking about confident, competent, and comfortable.
I am Ernest L. Thomas from the Waldens, and you need to download the Win Network app now, or else it's gonna be tragic. Tragic!
Hey, so if you do not have the Win Network yet, you got to download it. We're on the Win Network Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can download the Win Network by simply going to winnetwork.com So if you don't have the Win Network downloaded, if you have not added that to your arsenal, shame on you. You need to have the Win Network in your arsenal. Great network, great movies, 24/7 programming, and yes, you get to see me every day, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Well, I have none other than live and in color the most beautiful Gigi Elizabeth Mata. What's up, Gigi?
What's up, Reggie? I love how you just build up on my ego. Thank you so much. You know, I was smiling the whole time when you were just saying all those positive affirmations on me. Boy, man, confident, strong. You got it, babe. We're
You the,
we're all here just to empower each other, and you just coming from that, that mindset, coming from a guy and just empowering females, it gets, I got chills all over me. It's
keep those
awesome.
keep those chills because we just getting started. Don't let those chills go down because you are the prototype. When I thought about reaching out to you, asking you to do this show, really, really, you're a badass. And I don't say that in negative. That's somebody who's very comfortable in their skin. And I feel like, you came to my mind and I was glad because your schedule was open that you could do the show because I know that you keep a very busy schedule. But you're not just comfortable, you're confident, you're competent. And that's what we're gonna get in today. Because my first question to you is what does a confident woman look like to you?
A confident woman looks like she's comfortable in her own skin and she's not afraid to show it in a positive way, empowering other females to do the same. Whether you're 120 pounds or whether you're 220 pounds, a confident female loves herself first and shows it, and she just transmutes it. I mean, you could just tell when a confident female walks in a room and she just lights up the whole room with her confidence. And she does not have to be the most beautiful female in the room. She does not have to be the most attractive female. Her charisma and her self-confidence is delight. And it makes a statement when you walk in a room and you're confident.
Well, speaking of walking into a room and being confident, that's how you and I met many, many years ago at the networking event. I don't even know if you remember how we met. We were at a networking event, right?
Yes, I do.
And you always came into the room, you always lit the room up, you're very comfortable in your skin. But then after I got to know you, I realized that not only were you comfortable, not only were you confident, but you were competent. That's that's important because I feel to me competent equates to content because when you're competent, that means you've got some content. There's something that's underneath the actuality of what we see initially. And for some, it's the beauty. But when you can get underneath that and you see that there's content, I want to ask you because you've done so much, what does a competent woman look like to you?
A competent woman, it's really underneath the surface level. I think at first glance, you won't see it. But once you get to know somebody, she has a good head on her shoulders. She's humble. She knows that she does not know it all, and she's willing to share the knowledge that she does know. A competent female never stops learning. The day you think you know it all is the day you stop living. I mean, there's so much information out there, and there's so many things that you can continue to build yourself up, to continue to build your image, your knowledge base, everything. And like I tell the people that I respect a lot, which are my agents, my partners in business, I might not know it all, but I will find out the answer for you. A competent female knows when she does not know the answer, and she's humble enough to acknowledge it and then go and learn it.
Why don't you tell, I think this is a great way to tell people what you do. Give a little intro about what you do. We'll get into how people can find you later in terms of your the social media platform. But tell my audience a little bit about what you do because again, that's competence. And so let's talk about a little bit what you do.
In a nutshell, it's a long story, but in a nutshell, I own a brokerage, commercial real estate brokerage, and residential brokerage. I'm also a senior business broker, mergers and acquisitions. I have about 18 agents. At one point, I had close to over 30, and now we're just 18. We're a small boutique. I'm rebuilding it up right now as we are speaking, but I love where I'm at right now. So in essence, I do real estate. I do commercial real estate. I've sold self-storages. We've done apartments. We do property management. And I mentor my agents one-on-one. I don't know how any other brokerage, and I am not here to say anything about anyone else, but I mentor my agents one-on-one. We're on Zoom meetings. I love what I do. The reason why I love what I do is because I call myself a glorified matchmaker. And what I do is I match a client with a product, or I match them with the right people. That's what we do
Okay.
for a living. We build relationships. And once you understand how important relationships are, and I know you do, Reggie, you will be so successful because you might not be the smartest, but you're the most trustworthy and most likable expert. So people will do business with people they like.
I love it. See, so that's the competent woman. See, that's the competence that we're talking about. And that's why I said you were the prototype. The confidence is coming out of you, but you use the word humble. Humility is extremely important because for me, attraction, when I when I'm attracted, I like humility. Um, I like someone who knows that they're very comfortable in their skin, they're competent, but yet they have this humility. So I'm going to ask you this question because I think it's appropriate. What do you think is the difference between cocky and badassy?
Cocky is when you think you got it all and you're not humble at all, and you really don't. It's a barrier. It's an overblown ego that you're just building on yourself, right? I mean, that's a little bit cocky when you're not acknowledging that others could be better than you. And I love it when others are better for me, because that means now I have this much more to learn, and I love it. I love it. The journey is always the best.
And the journey is always, Gigi, it's always about learning. And when we feel like, as you said, we know it all, then we cease to learn. And then when we cease to learn, we become stagnant.
Exactly.
And then whatever we already had begins to lay dormant. So
Yes.
therefore, there's no more growing. Yeah, we're going, but we're not really growing because the more knowledge we feed ourselves, the more we grow and the more we evolve and the more we become, because we're always in that state of evolving. We're always in that state of becoming. So we want to continue as we evolve, as we become, we want to put that content that goes along with where we're going so that as we are growing, then it begins to have a balance because everything has to have a balance. What do you think about
Amen.
that?
Amen. It's all about transformation. Everything transforms in life. And when you stop transforming, it's like your journey just stops. So, to answer your second question, the difference between a cocky and badassy is that another badass woman will build up another badass woman. And if we notice that somebody needs help, we'll build you up. Your perfection, or not perfection, nobody's perfect, but your light, if I see a beautiful female, I will stop and say, man, you look gorgeous, girl. Today you look so hot. That's the difference between a badassy and cocky. A female that is cocky will never acknowledge another female that's doing great in life. She would just simply pass on by. And I think we miss out on a lot of opportunities when we don't stop and acknowledge a female that is doing great, because we have so much to learn from them. And I would love to just build her up and get to know how she got there. That's the difference between a badassy and a cocky person.
That's so Wow, that's powerful what you said because iron sharpens iron. And
Amen.
if you don't know how to sit with somebody that is considered iron, it's hard for you to become sharpened. So I may have some skill set and I may have something, but somebody else may have something different. So it behooves me to be able to sit so that I can glean and grow from someone else because the iron now begins to sharpen the iron. I don't always want to feel like I know everything and I don't always want to feel like, I'm the smartest in the room. When I get to that place where I'm the smartest in the room, I need to always start looking at who's who's in the room. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because there's something that we can always learn from. Hey, we're gonna take a break, and we'll be right back because I'm loving our conversation. But we're gonna come right back, and I want you to listen to this band that's coming up. It's talk about love you like you need to be loved, because a woman who loves herself can begin to be loved like she needs to be loved. And that's what you're talking about. You impart into someone else. You give affirmation, words of encouragement, words of affirming and you're affirming and giving affirmations to someone so that they can feel good about what's inside of them. Hopefully we tap into. So the best relationship that anybody could ever have is with yourself. And when you learn to love yourself, then somebody else can learn to love you because you love you. What do you think about that, Gigi?
I think self-love is the most important thing in life. I mean, I've learned that after my divorce. And I also learned that you cannot love somebody truly, fully, and unconditionally until you love yourself.
No more needs to be said. We're going to be right back after this. Listen to this.
1, 2, 3.
Keep the picture. This could be me and you. Pull out your feelings. I know you want it too. 'Cause I got the feeling all in my bones. You're waking up the monkey with the gorilla trying to get you to moan. You look so good all by yourself. The way I see it, I think you're gonna need some help. And then we pop, goes a weasel, cause a weasel go pop. We can go pop. We can go pop. Let me love you like you need to be loved. Love you like you need to be loved. Like you need to be loved, baby. Love you like you need to be loved. Baby. Love you like you need to be loved. Don't fight the feeling deep in your soul. Check my record. I just wanna let you know you need to fall back. Check yourself. Ooh, let it go. I don't need to repeat myself, but that's just the way it goes. Oh, baby, pop goes a weasel, cause a weasel go pop. We can go pop. Let me love you. Love you like you need to be loved. All of my love to you. Love you like you need to be loved. Like you need to be loved. I know you need it. Love you like you need to be loved. You know you want it, baby. Let me love
We got someone in the chat.
Well, welcome back. I've got GG here, and we are having a fun time. Love you like you need to be loved. That's Microwave. You guys may remember Microwave from a hit song in the 80s called Instant Replay. That was a big, big hit for the group Microwave. So they're still at it, doing their thing. That's their latest called Love You Like You Need to Be Loved. I got somebody in the chat, GG. They're saying great information. So let's continue to give them some great information. Thank you, Nicole, for telling us it's fire. She said it's fire. Great information.
Awesome.
So, Gigi, I'm going to throw some words out to you. And I want you to just, off the top of your head, just tell me what comes to your mind. First word, sexy.
Confidence.
Exactly. All right. Classy.
Bougie.
Bougie? Really? Bougie?
I couldn't come up with nothing better than that. Simple. Simplicity.
Simple. Classy is simplicity. Okay, sexy, classy. All right, so we've already dealt with the badassy. So badassy, what's the first thing comes to your mind?
Badassy is a female that is not afraid to be who she is, to follow her purpose, and is confident and not afraid to keep learning.
That's what a badass woman looks like to you.
Yes.
Okay, so I know you're into empowering younger women, and particularly and women as a whole. You know, you do so much in the business world in Vegas, and so are these some of the attributes that you look for when you are hiring or when you're doing team building? You know, what are some of the attributes that you look for in the women that you add to your team or that you bring into your company?
I look for humility, number one, because if they think they know it all, they will not learn a thing. They will start doing things out in the field without consulting. They will start, just going in no direction, right? You need to be humble in this business, and you will get a lot of no's. So I would rather hire an agent that has worked in the food industry her entire life and just wanted to get ahead in life and went for her real estate license, because that tells me her work ethic is there, and that tells me she's humble enough because she has been there. She has been, she has had hard times, enough hard times where she could say, I need to learn something, and I'm going to learn everything that this woman has to say.
And sometimes, Gigi, people don't adapt to change very well. So that scenario that you just gave, or that example, is somebody who would adapt and be willing to change. I hear business owners, and particularly people who are in leadership roles, will always say they would much rather take somebody who has not been in the business, because they feel like they're more teachable, more adaptable, and more trainable. Is that true?
That is absolutely true. The people that in this industry that are not willing to go with the changes, with the different seasons, are the ones that will lack success, because we change. I mean, we went into the world, and I kept saying this, you have to do videos, you have to do videos, you have to go out there. If you don't like people, why are you in this business? And you have to be adaptable, and you have to go with the changes. If you're not into technology, guess what? Now you are. So it's a matter of just adaptability and being humble enough to say, yeah, I might not know it all. This millennial kid knows more than I do now, and that's okay.
You know, you're saying a lot, because the world has changed so much. Everything has gone to being digital. And so you have to at least have some knowledge in that area of, going digital. But what about this? I see a lot of your TikTok videos. You're talented. Like, you got this comedic side in you that if people looked at you, they would never know you're that funny. Like, I see your stuff. You are like super duper funny, right? So what if people don't have that in them? Like, your stuff is so good. I think I even texted you one day and said, "Yo, you should be on TV." You remember that? I don't even know if you remember that. I texted you
I
that.
do.
I was
I
like,
do.
"Yo, your stuff is so good. Like, you're hilarious." What if people don't have that though? What would you suggest to them?
You have to be your authentic self, because
Yes.
there's a lot of people that will always identify themselves with you, but if you're not authentic, you won't live with your true self, and people sense that. People will sense you when you're not authentic. And guess what? They might absolutely love your authentic self. You never know. So if you're not funny, but you're into cooking, crafting, if you're into giving, shoot, I even found out that the Washington Post has a TikTok. And I was like, no way. I mean, you just be your authentic self, and you will always, always have followers, because being yourself will attract them, and you will flourish. I mean, you could tell right away when you love doing something, people could tell right away, and they will identify with you.
And I think what's important, you all, your takeaway, those of you that are watching us, we certainly appreciate those of you that are watching us today on Facebook Live. We appreciate you. Some of you will hear us tonight on 87.9 Heat FM Charlotte. We appreciate you tuning in every week, listening to us on 87.9 Heat FM Charlotte. Some of you will even watch us on the Win Network. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you that will watch us on the Win Network. But what I think I'm hearing from you, Gigi, and it's so important, it's all about tapping into you, getting a
Yeah.
clear understanding of who you really are. It's not about trying to be someone else. It's not even about trying to please someone else. Because when you're not pleased with you, it doesn't matter what anybody else says. You have to get to that place where you can tap into your true, authentic self. Because when you can get to that place of tapping into your true, authentic self, then everything becomes natural for you, and then things just begin to flow on an organic, in this organic, what we call this vibratory level. It's
Mhm.
like this vibratory frequency, and it becomes just organic, because
Mhm.
once you can tap into you, you get into this certain energetic space. And when you get into this energetic space, that energy that's flowing off you becomes what I like to call, it's a good energy, it's a good flow, it's a good vibe. And so you become confident now in you. This is all we're talking about. We're all about getting you to that place of tapping in so that you get confident, so that you
Mhm.
understand your competence and you become comfortable in your own skin. And you got
Right.
to tap in. So, those of you that are listening to us, please, we're giving you some nuggets so that you tap into your true, authentic self. Maybe it's not working for you. You know why it might not be working for you? Maybe it's not working for you because you're trying to be someone else and do what someone else is doing.
Right.
Find out what makes you unique. Gigi, what makes you unique? I bet you could tell me that real quick without even there's
I I mean, I don't know where to start, and I'm not great, right? But I'm gonna answer that question in a minute. So when I wrote this book, it's an autobiography. It triggered me to go into a dark night of the soul, because it's my life story of how I came to here from being an immigrant to where I am today. So when I wrote that story, it triggered me to find myself, and I was, wait a minute. I know I've been through all this stuff and everything, but I'm not living my authentic self. So in order, just a warning, if you have not done that yet, it might be a very, very dark period of your life where you're going to go under all the triggers, all your memories in order to find yourself. But it's so important and so much worth it. I mean, my life completely changed when I did that. I am divorced. I was married to the wrong person. He was unhappy. We were both unhappy, trying to live up to an image that was not real. And so when I started writing that book, I said, well, how am I going to give this advice and not take it myself, right? That would be so hypocritical of me to do that. And so I made those changes. It totally, completely changed my life, but it gave me a brand new start. And this is where I am right now. I am now single. I have 6 kids, and I count a seventh one because I fostered my daughter, L'Oreal, and she became like my daughter to me. So I gave birth to 6 kids. To answer your question, what makes me unique? I'm an immigrant from Mexico, came here at the age of 7 years old. I didn't know a word of English. My parents, were very poor. My mom was a housekeeper. Um, and we went through domestic violence. I lived through all those traumas in life. I became a mother at the age of 14, just 1 month after I turned 14 years old. So, which means that I became pregnant at 13. The doors were shut on me because if you don't know this, Hispanic, Mexican, old school Mexican traditions are very strict. So when that happened to me, they closed the doors on me and said, no, you got to figure it out. So how do you get a 13-year-old to figure out Medicaid, insurance, the care of her child, how she's going to afford it? So, which is a beautiful experience. It was a bad experience, but I used it as a learning experience. And I love my son. And that taught me so many things in life. I treasure life. I treasure so many things in life. So what makes me unique? It's many things that happen to me, and I'm not saying a lot of it's all tragedy. There's a lot more people out there with worse things in their life that happened to me, and I acknowledge that. But I'm not going to sit here and become a victim and stay a victim. I'm going to learn from my lessons, and I'm going to continue on to live the best life, the best authentic life that I can. So I have 6 children. I'm a single mother. I own a company. And I wouldn't say any of that makes me unique. What makes me unique is my tenacity to not give up.
Wow.
Not give up.
Wow. That's the tenacity to not give up. Listen, if we're not talking about the epitome of confident, competent, and comfortable, everything that you went through to get to where you are, to me, epitomizes. That's why I started off this show by saying you're the prototype of confident, competent, and comfortable. That's sexy, classy, and badassy, all wrapped up in one. I need to take a break here, Gigi. You just gave us so much. But before I take this break, tell people, because you're coming back with me, but tell people how they can find you. Somebody may want to buy your book. Um, Tell people, your social media handles and how people can find you.
People can find me by just, my company is called Advent Realty Group, and we also have Advent Business Advisors. That is www.adventbusinessadvisors.com. The phone number is 702-826-2277, 702-826-2277. Give us a call anytime, email us, all the information is there. If you want to know about investing, I've done some videos on investing as well. So you just go into my website, you will find the videos and information, and we could send you market stats as well.
Give them that website one more time.
www.adventbusinessadvisors.com.
And Advent is spelled Advent.
Yes.
Advent Business
Advisors.
Advice Source. Advisors. Got it. Businessadvisors.com. I have a sister that I want to get you. I have a sister my sister, I want you to connect with her. I just think you guys would create some really great synergy. So if you don't mind, I'm going to get you connected with my sister. I think you guys will just something needs to come out of that. Okay.
Love it.
All right. Awesome. We can take a break. We'll be right back after this. So we are looking for 12 powerhouse Nevada ladies, all shapes, all sizes, and all colors. Are you sexy? Are you classy? Are you badassy? Which means, are you confident? Are you competent? And are you comfortable? Well, we're looking for you to be one of the ones. Do you have what it takes to be in the sexy, classy, badassy 2022 calendar? Be a part of history. Be one of the ones. Again, all shapes, all sizes, and all colors. 12 powerhouse Nevada ladies. Get registered today. Go to www.sexyclassyandbadassy. That's www.sexyclassyandbadassy. Do you have what it takes? Register today. Hey, we're starting a new segment. typically you would be gone and on your way out, but I ask you to stay because I'm starting a new segment. And on this segment on my show now, I'm starting a new segment called Reggie's Relationship Recipes. Reggie's Relationship Recipes. So, what I would like is, even those of you that are listening, if you have some questions at this point, I want you to either ask your questions about a relationship issue that you may have, and we're going to see if we can come up with a recipe for you. So, we have heard from you, Gigi. You have gone through a divorce. You are now single. I'm going to open the floor. What questions do you have for Reggie? Let's see if we can create a relationship recipe for you.
I would have so many questions for you. When I was married for 20 plus years, almost 25 years, when I came out in the dating world, I was traumatized. I was like, what do you do? Like they take you out and when do you know your boyfriend and girlfriend? Because I came from an era like, do you want to be my boyfriend? Yes. Okay, now let's deal. So how do you know when a female is the female for you?
How do I know personally when a female is a female for me? Well, I am certainly huge on communication. Let me tell you why. Communication is tantamount for me. So I always make sure that when we communicate, our communication, we're existing in the same frame and on this in the same lane. Why? Because communication represents, it comes from a word called communion. The word communion, if you look it up, it's you typically use as a religious terminology that they take, but when they do communion in a religious sector, they always say you must first examine yourself before you partake of these elements, which is the communion. The reason they tell you to examine yourself is because they're saying it's sacred. So now, watch how this ties in, because that word communion comes from two words: common union. So now, when we understand communication, we have to communicate where we find what the common union is, and we should not say things that we don't mean because communication is sacred. So there's stuff that we say that we can't pull down, take back. It's already out there. Now it's been planted into you. And a lot of times you think about what I said that I really didn't mean. So that's why I try to communicate on the same level, in the same frame, and in the same lane. Communication for me is paramount. So when I meet someone, I want to make sure that we are communicating on the same level, because because when and that has a lot to do with your energy, because when the energy is wrong, the conversation probably won't be long.
I agree 100%. But Reggie, and I think you might agree with this. You're different because you're what I call an awakened male. A lot of guys out there are still not awakened. They're not spiritually awakened. They're not ascended. And they wouldn't even have any clue as to what you just said.
well, I have this conversation a lot of times with somebody. It's about doing the work.
Yeah.
So again, if I meet a woman who I felt like she has done the work that is required, that's when we get in that same lane and on that same frame, because we've done the work. It takes work. Relationships can either make you or break you, but the challenge is figuring out how do you align yourself with someone who resonates with your spirit.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I'm gonna ask you this.
Please.
You've been on dating sites, right? I certainly have had my trauma in the dating sites. It's time consuming.
Okay.
It takes so much work to go out and meet so many people. And how do you know that the female is awakened? It's ascended, is matured.
Okay, that's a great question. I think that there are stages to dating. That's number one. I think there are 5 stages to dating. 5. And I think within those stages, the first stage is your tell-all stage. So the first stage is what I call your meet and greet. Your meet and greet may take one or two encounters because the first stage is really not the dating. It's not your date. You're not on a date. You want to meet and greet, maybe have coffee, tea, just somewhere where it's a very open place, where it's a public place. You're not considered on a date. Okay. So, in the meet and greet stage, what you want to do is it's what I call your C's. That's where the communication comes in. In that meet and greet stage is what you want to discover. Are there any commonalities? You want to discover, is there any chemistry? You want to discover, how's the conversation? And the biggest one you want to discover is there a connection? Now, how do we get to that? You ask all the pertinent questions. It's almost like if you brought someone in, GG, for an interview, when you're looking to hire somebody, there are certain questions you're going to ask them in the interviewing process. Why? Because you already know what's a fit for your company. You know what you're looking for. You're looking for something to match the job description. So you have a set of questions that you would typically ask to see if it's a fit. So I'm going to ask you first and foremost, my first question that I would typically ask, and I don't want you to do it where it becomes like you're interrogating someone. Let it flow. Because if someone feels you're interrogating them, they're going to, especially a male, they're going to become defensive. So again, be organic, be natural, and just sit back and say, hey, so Reggie, what makes you unique? Or I come to you, Gigi, just like I asked you a little while ago. It was very natural, right? And you went right into it. So, Gigi, what makes you unique? You know what you're going to get out of that? These questions that I will give you, they're so layered because people like to talk about themselves. You're going to discover so much about someone when you get them talking about themselves from that first question, what makes you unique? The second question I'm going to come back and ask you is, and this is old school. We used to ask this one was really old school. It was what do you do? Don't ask that. That's so old school. Here's how you change that around. You say, how do you typically spend your day?
That's a good one. I haven't thought about that.
Not only are you going to get what they do, GG, you're going to get so much that's layered on that so you can start now to determine or to decipher, wow, this may not be a fit for me because you're getting so much on those questions.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. I asked the same thing, and the minute, and it's because I asked the wrong question. That's probably why. The minute they say I'm retired, I'm like, oh Lord, he's gonna want to be on me all day long. But when you ask, how do you typically spend your day? And he says, well, I typically golf and I have other projects that I'm also working and da 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 da. So now I'm not thinking in my head that he's going to be stalking me 24/7, right?
It's important, because finding out what he does or finding out what she does, you see how you fit into the picture. Or you
Right.
see if you even fit into the picture. You see? So you ask these questions that what I say they're layered. And again, in this process, the only thing that you're trying to get out of this process is you want to determine if it's a fit. Now, let's go back to something else we talked about. We talked about doing the work. The work starts with you first. That's how you'll know if it's a fit. The work starts with you first. I need you as a single individual to sit down and put your deal breakers together, your deal makers, and your non-negotiables. You need to sit down. You need to know what are your deal breakers, your deal makers, and your non-negotiables. If you ask most people, they have no clue.
Right.
So how can you hit the target, GG, if you don't even know what you're looking for?
Exactly. I agree 100%.
Right?
Right.
So, ladies, I got somebody over here in the chat. I'm going on a second date tonight. Okay, is it actually a second date or is it an encounter? Because did you go through that first process of even determining if it even warrants a date? The whole process of the meet and greet is to find out if it's a fit. Then the second stage of what I called your 5 stages of dating. Now, your meet and greet may take a couple times. Don't rush it because you want to be certain. But then the second stage of that 5 stages is the dating stage. You see, and then once you guys start dating, the third stage is what I call it becomes the problem is in that third stage is because you've been single for so long, it's independence versus interdependence. How do you mix your independence with your interdependence, being able to now see how we mesh together? Is there another question you got for me, Gigi? Or I see your mind is racing over there.
It's racing. It's, I mean, that is so important that you just mentioned that, number one, because a lot of people just hit the floor running when they're dating, and then by the fourth date you realize, oh, I really don't like this person. Like, what am I? And that's why feelings get hurt, because you didn't have the proper communication. They weren't right for you in the begin with, but there was, there's some attraction, and there's a difference between attraction and chemistry, a connection. Somebody could be so attracted and you have all the chemistry you want, but if this person's not feeling it the same thing, it's not a connection, right? So it's important to ask those questions, because that's how a lot of females get so burnt out. They hit the floor running. Now he's asking me on a second date, everything's good and everything. I found that once I go on a second date, it doesn't even feel the same like on the first date, probably because I didn't ask the right questions. And when you like people and you like going out and meeting new people, you enjoy yourself, and that you have like this dopamine going on, because it's you're meeting someone new, and everything's going great, and you're having a nice dinner, and your brain actually thinks that you like the person when you really don't. And so when the second date comes around and the third date comes around, and you realize, oh, he's into cats. Oh, he does this. I just can't picture myself. Then that's how, you get burned out of dating, because you're not dating the right way.
You said something that's extremely powerful. And the thing is, to thine own self be true. Now, in order to be true to thyself, you really have to know thyself. Know thyself. What is really a fit for you? You said something, Gigi, and I use this analogy all the time. We talked about in that first stage the C's, the commonalities, the conversation, the chemistry, but ultimately getting to the connection. See, most people build relationships off of chemistry. I don't. Why? Because you can have chemistry with multiple people, but you will not be connected to everyone. So at the stage of life where we are now, we want to discover, is there a connection, right? Because because you hear women say so often, "Oh my god, we have so much chemistry." But they've said that multiple times, because you can have chemistry with multiple people. But how many times do you hear women say, "Oh my god, we have such a connection"? Because
Mhm.
you're not going to be connected to everyone. So you want to try your best to do your everything within your powers to determine if there's a connection. Why? Because your next move has to be your best move. If it's not your best move, don't make it your next move. We do not have time to keep wasting over and over. Time is our biggest commodity, and we do not have a lot of time to keep investing. Keep what? So look, I just used the word that you're very, 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 very familiar with: investing. When you invest, you want a return on your investment, right? That's
Right.
the only reason you're investing, so you can get an ROI. So we
Yes.
don't we don't have a lot of time to keep investing and taking losses.
Right.
If it's not a return, don't keep investing. You
Right.
you you control the climate. You control the climate to what you allow into your space, Gigi.
Right. And I just said this to my 11-year-old daughter. I took him to Sedona for right before her surgery, and she said, "Mommy, how could you make more money so that we could come live here in a mansion?" I'm like, "So, okay, back up for a minute. Your biggest your biggest investment is time. Right now, mommy is investing in you guys, because you guys are my biggest asset. How you spend your time is the most valuable thing in life. If you diminish distractions, people that waste your time, if you diminish people that, who you spend your time with is the most important thing in the world. Because that means that if you spend your time with the wrong person, you've now invested and your investment did not return. And your energy got depleted. Your energy and your time, you can't, it's so important to you. So to answer your question is time is so important. And I cherish my time, which is communication is so important, because if you don't want to waste 2 or 3 dates with somebody that is just wasting your time. You want to get to you want to really ask those questions the very first time. And if they feel uncomfortable with those questions, it probably means they're not mature enough. And, it just answers your own questions. Your time is so valuable. We don't have that back. So who you select as a partner is the most important thing for your love life, career, everything in your life, everything, even your self-purpose.
So important. So important.
So important.
I'm going to give you these other questions just so you'll have them. People that you are writing them down. If you're listening to me on Facebook Live, thank you. If you're listening to me tonight on 87.9 Heat FM Charlotte, certainly appreciate you. And those of you that'll be watching us on the Win Network, we appreciate you. So the first 2 questions I asked was what makes you unique. The second questions I ask is what does a typical day or look like for you? The third question that I would ask, and you're asking that second question, what does a typical day look like for you? Because you want to find out if they're an early riser, you'll get that out of that. How they spend their free time, you'll get that out of that. And you won't need to ask about their career because that'll also come out of that. So you're layering. And then the third question you want to ask them is, how do you typically spend your weekends? I'm layering this for you because this helps you to find out about their interests, their priorities, and how they socialize. If this person tells you they like to party from Friday to Sunday, then if you're not a partier, then that's probably not a fit for you. So you want to find out. This is important to know in deciding if you're compatible or not. The fourth question that I would say ask is, what does your ideal relationship look like? Because your ideal relationship may not look like their ideal relationship. That is so important. This tells you what they are really looking for in their mate. What if they're not looking for the same thing you're looking for? You see, I'm helping you all, and I charge for this stuff. I'm giving it to you free. So I hope you guys are writing this down, because if you're not, then you got to call. I can't give it all to you free. But number 5 is, what is your relationship like with your parents? Now, some people would ask, why is that important? That's extremely important because this question helps you get an understanding of their view of love. So, Gigi, I saw you wanted to say something. What were you going to say?
No, I said you hit it right in the nail. That is so important to me. The first thing I ask is, how is your relationship with your mother? I pay attention to those clues. If they tell me absolutely love, my mom's the number one, she's my queen, she's like, yes. Because how you treat your mother is how you treat your wife. And that is so true. I teach my little boys, open the door for the female, do this, do that. It's so important for them because your mother is the first person that taught you to love.
Yes. Yes, it's important. So those of you, if you want to get some more information, go to my website. Go to www.creggierogers.com, www.creggierogers.com. There you'll get information there. I've got a workbook out. I've got a book, and I'm actually coming out, GG, with these Reggie's relationship recipes. I'm coming out with this. It's in my new book. It's not out. I mean, the book is finished. It's edited. We just haven't put it out yet. But the new book is going to be called Dating from an Expanded Conscious Perspective. That's that awakening that you talked about. That's that being aware and awakened. Dating from an expanded conscious perspective. And people always ask, what's the expanded consciousness mean? It just means that you choose to focus on what you intend to create as opposed to focusing on what's missing. We can all focus on, I don't have a boyfriend, I don't have a girlfriend, I don't have a fiance, I don't have a husband, I don't have a wife, blah, 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 blah. No, focus on what you intend to create. What does he look like? Be intentional, be specific. So when you begin to focus on what you intend to create, then it will come to you because you have become it, and then it can come to you. A strong woman knows how to love, but a stronger woman knows who to love. So important. GG. Hey, Thank you, Gigi, for being a part of Reggie's Recess. And thank you for being a part of Reggie's Relationship Recipes. Anything you want to say?
Absolutely not. This is so fabulous. I loved being on your show. I hope you invite me again. I love you, Reggie. You know that. It's been so long knowing you, and you are always amazing. And everything that you do is like you give out all this advice, and you just continue to giving out to the world. So it's just a pleasure being on your show. Thank you so much for everything. And again, I had a wonderful time.
Well, Gigi, I had to put my best face on today because I knew you were going to be my guest. So, I had to put my best face on for you because you were going to be here with me. We got to get together soon. I haven't seen you in a long time, but we communicate, and I certainly appreciate it. Thank you for being on the show. It's been so much fun. Tonight, you'll hear us on 87.9 Heat FM, Charlotte, the best radio station in the land. So don't miss us tonight on 87. I think, do we have a link for 87.9 Heat FM Charlotte? Is there? There it is. 87.9 Heat FM Charlotte tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then, two, we got to give a shout out to Steven Sebo. He is our show's producer. This is another Action Shot production. We got to give a shout out to Steven Sebo. Hey, Steven, thank you, sir. And if you're looking to have a video produced, make sure you get in touch with Action Shot Productions, video production, movie production, documentary productions, you name it. Action Shot Productions can do it. And you can also catch us on a Worldwide Jazz Radio. I'm on Worldwide Jazz Radio Monday through Friday. I'm on the morning show. I talk about dating and relationships on Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 12 noon with none other than Langston Carter. Langston Carter is the man when it comes to jazz. So I'm on Monday through Friday, Worldwide Jazz Radio. You can catch us. So you can catch us in so many different ways. Gigi, we got to go, but I got to give some closing remarks. Here's my closing remarks to all of you. Oh, you know what? Before we give our closing remarks, I almost forgot. I'm going to give you an opportunity if you want to be a sponsor for the show. Steve, take us into our sponsorship before we get out of here really quickly.
Hello. Thank you for watching and being a friend to Reggie's Recess. We're on a mission. Our goal is to empower 1 million women. It costs a great deal of money to keep this mission moving forward. We have created a wonderful opportunity for our viewers and friends to align themselves with us so that we can achieve this goal. Please consider making a conscious decision to be a supporter and sponsor. We have 3 levels.
Silver at $100. You'll receive a C. Reggie Rogers signature one-man woman t-shirt. Gold at $250. You'll receive a C. Reggie Rogers signature one-man woman t-shirt and baseball hat. Platinum at $500. You'll receive a one-man woman baseball hat, t-shirt, a C. Reggie Rogers book, and workbook entitled Love at First Spirit.
For your gift to the show and C. Reggie Rogers' #1 relationship coach, you get a piece of the One-Man Woman Tour memorabilia. Go to www.creggierogers.com, click on the link Sponsorship or Cash App, $CLOYDRODGERS. If you like our merchandise, you can actually order your t-shirts, hats, and books. Go to www.onemanwoman.com.
Hey, man, there's your opportunity. You can be a sponsor. We got to close, but here's what I want to close with. Being a badass woman means rising above the impulse to lift yourself up by tearing someone else down, and particularly another woman down. Don't tear another woman down. Badass women are their own category. They may go against the norm, but that is what makes you a little more interesting. Being a certified badass does not mean being nasty, rude, or mean. You can be extremely nice and still be the perfect badass. It's more important about the confidence to be who you are so you can be confident, competent, and comfortable in your own skin. And we will be back next week with another great show. Gotta go. I'll see you. Gigi, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.